What is up, everyone? Welcome to a new captaincy video, the top captain picks for game week 9. And on the thumbnail, we've got Lukaku and Salah, and those two are going to be the main talking points for today. Before we get into the video, I have written an article for the captaincy picks for game week 9. I'm going into a bit of detail. Check out the fantasy football community website. The link will be in the description as well. The article should be going out this week, and once it's out, I'll put the link for that article as well in the video, so check it out. Having said that, let's get into the fixtures. Alright, so like we do every week, we look at the minutes per expected goals versus minutes per expected goals conceded, and we look at all the fixtures, and I've highlighted them in colors. For those of you who are new to the video, first of all, hit the subscribe button if you are new, and hit that like button as well. If you're new, do hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers so that I can get the channel name and everything properly set on YouTube. So do hit the subscribe button. It'll help the channel as well. Now let's get into the colors. So the green are basically the teams who are on the top 4 in terms of their stats. So in terms of expected goals, Liverpool, Leicester, Brentford and West Ham United have the top 4 best expected goal stats. In terms of defensive stats, Man City, Leicester, Everton and Arsenal. So these are best defensive and best offensive stats in the last 4 game weeks. Now in orange is the next 4, so teams from 5 to 8 in terms of expected goals or expected goals conceded, and in red are the teams with the worst stats, so the bottom 4. And as you can see, United are part of that bottom 4 in terms of minutes per expected goals conceded, and they've conceded 7 goals in the last 4 game weeks. That's why in terms of brackets, those are like the goals scored or the goals conceded. Now that's one of the reasons why Salah has been marked as a captaincy option. Now we'll go into it, but before that, okay, before I go back to Lukaku, I've kind of like highlighted in terms of 1, 2 and 3. I favored Chelsea as probably the first pick to go and look into it, mainly because of the fact that Norwich are both bad defensively and offensively in the last 4 game weeks. However, there is a small caveat to that where they've improved their defensive fixtures in the last 2 game weeks, and that's something maybe that should be kind of considered because they have improved in the last 2 game weeks. But Chelsea's attack is pretty decent. Lukaku, however, on the other hand, hasn't really scored much, and we'll go into a bit of detail onto that. But in terms of second, I've selected the Liverpool versus United game because Liverpool are the best attacking team, and they're going against United, who are at the bottom 4 for defense in the last 4 game weeks. And then third, I haven't really mentioned, we won't be mentioning it too much in this video, but you could probably look into it, is West Ham United against Tottenham. Tottenham defensively are okay, but not the best as well. And West Ham have a really good attack. So Antonio could be a captaincy option as a third option if anyone's considering it. If not, you could probably even look into another Liverpool player, maybe a Firmino as a captaincy option, a punt. Could be tried. Anyways, let's get into our main 2 captaincy options for this week, and probably who I think a lot of people are considering. Let's start with Lukaku. Alright, so he's had 4 starts in the last 4, 0 goals, 0 assists. That's including fantasy assist. Expected goals of 1.02, assist of 0.62, and XGI of 1.64. Only 1 big chance in the last 4, and only 6 chances created in the last 4. Now, he's playing a Norwich team who have conceded 10 big chances. They've had an expected goals conceded of 6.49 in the last 4 game weeks, and an expected goal conceded rank of 18th. So they're the 18th worst team defensively when you look at it in the last 4 game weeks. Now, I've added Lukaku's heat map here as well. It's kind of improved a bit slightly. He's a bit more into the box compared to last week's video when you would have seen it. And I've added also Norwich's these are their shots conceded map, Norwich. And as you can see, they concede a lot of shots in the box. And a few shots outside the box, but a lot in the box. And as you can see, just in front of the goal line is where they concede most of their goals from. So hopefully we're hoping that Lukaku can benefit from it ahead of this game week. Another alternative could possibly be Werner. Timo Werner could also possibly benefit from this because he's also operating in a very similar space. We'll have a look into that as well. But yeah, he could also benefit from this. The one thing is, we're not sure if... I think Lukaku will play against Norwich. We'll have to see. Maybe Tuchel could possibly rest him with Champions League being more priority. So that's something that maybe could be on his mind. So I don't know. It's up to you. But one thing that we know, someone who is definitely going to start is Salah. Now, Salah has been on hot form. He's probably the best player in the Premier League right now, and arguably one of the top 3, I think, players in the world right now. Best players in the world: Salah, Lewandowski, Benzema, probably right now on form. Salah in the last 4 game weeks, 4 goals, 2 assists, 1 fantasy assist as well. An expected goals of 2.56, expected assist of 0.63, expected goal involvement of 3.19. 5 big chances, 7 chances created, and he's operating down that right wing spot, which is really... You can see him coming in towards the box as well. And if you look at United's defensive stats and where they've conceded their shots, a lot of that is coming from that their right flank. If you would look, the Maguire-Shaw flank is where they're conceding a lot. It's more towards that side. So that benefits Salah because he operates on that side as well. Maguire hasn't looked great defensively this season. He's been suspect a lot of times, and that could benefit Salah. Now, United have considered 9 big chances. They have an XG of 6.63 and an XGC rank of 19th, which is worse than Norwich in the last 4 game weeks. How are you do so bad, man? But they're that bad in the last 4 game weeks. They're 19th in that list. I think Watford are the only team who are worse than them in terms of expected goals conceded. Now, something to keep in mind here is United's attack is a bit decent. So it could possibly maybe push Liverpool's defense a bit back. Even though United's defense is horrible, their attack is decent, which means you could see Liverpool not going all guns blazing and could play a bit cautious at times because of the threat that United's attack do possess. Now, I mentioned before, Antonio could be an option as well. Someone you could look at, maybe a second Liverpool player like a Firmino as a possibility. Apart from that, outside captaincy punts, I wouldn't be looking at anyone else per se. Vardy has been pretty consistent, but Brentford defensively are decent, and Brentford also will give a go. They'll give it all, their all as well. We've seen them taking the game to City, taking the game to what's the City? I don't know. Taking the game to Chelsea in the last match, and Chelsea were kind of lucky in the last 20 minutes to not have conceded due to Mendy's heroics. So Brentford Leicester could be an end-to-end game. Antonio probably maybe my off chance, but I'll probably look at Lukaku or Salah at the moment in terms of captaincy options. Werner also could be an option against Norwich as another captaincy option. Now I've said this. Having said all of this, let's go into a bit more detail, because I think all of us are here to see a bit more detail, because what I've shown you is a bit of just a slight look into both of them, but let's compare them side by side on the Fantasy Football Scout members area. So this right here is a Fantasy Football Scout members area player comparison, and you can see the 2 heat maps side by side is what you're seeing, but let's look at it a bit more, right? In terms of stats, Salah overcomes Lukaku about 82% overall, and 10 key stats as well he beats him on. Obviously, I told before, he's got more goals, more assists. Lukaku hasn't had any in the last 4 game weeks, which is pretty bad, and both of them have played City in the last 4 as well, so that's something to keep an eye on. Salah does beat Lukaku in terms of XG, XA, expected goals involvement, almost everything. Salah beats Lukaku. Even involvement in the final third, Salah's is almost triple of Lukaku's touches and involvement in the final third. That's 55 to 154. Salah is really in there in the final third. Minutes per passes received as well. Salah is beating Lukaku. So Lukaku isn't really getting involved as much. The only thing that Lukaku kind of beats him on is take-ons and dribbles. But I wouldn't take too much into this because most of Salah's dribbles is he tries a lot of dribbling, which means he's going to be losing the ball a lot compared to Lukaku, which is why he has a worse successful percentage in terms of dribbles. In terms of involvement, goal involvement, look at this. Absolutely zero goal involvement from Lukaku, whereas Salah has 46 goal involvements in the last 4 game weeks. So there have been at 46 attempts, he's been involved in those attempts. But Lukaku, on the other hand, nothing. In terms of BPS total, Salah, if he gets a goal, Salah is probably going to get 2 to 3 bonus points. Lukaku, on the other hand, hasn't been very involved as well in terms of that. Goal threat, minutes per goal, Salah really high. Lukaku, nothing in the last 4 game weeks. Minutes per attempt as well. Salah 21.2 minutes per attempt. Lukaku 57.7 minutes per attempt. So in every single stat, almost everything, Salah is beating Lukaku. Even in tackles, man. Damn. Goals from set plays. Aerial duels doesn't matter because Lukaku is going to win the aerial duels, and that we don't really care about. What we care about is the attacking stats, and Salah beats Lukaku hands down. Now, does that paint the whole story though? Because something to consider is that Salah is playing United and Lukaku is playing Norwich. Now, this is where I get my stats from. Now, if you were to look at XGC, again, United there, 19th was defense, Norwich just below. But if you were to switch this to the last 2 game weeks, where I told you Norwich have improved slightly, Norwich's defense goes significantly better. They've kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, whereas United, I saw this again. United are there in the bottom 4 again for the last 2 games. They've conceded 5 goals in the last 2 game weeks with a 3.7 goals conceded, whereas Norwich 2.03 goals conceded. Expected goals conceded, and they've kept 2 clean sheets. So they should have considered 2, but they managed to keep 2 clean sheets. Obviously, it was against Burnley and Burnley and Brighton, who haven't been the best in terms of, if you were to look for attacking wise, they're not the best teams to kind of like go against. Like, they don't offer much. Maybe they should have. They are okay teams, but not the best as well. But at the same time, United, right? They have gone up against Leicester. Okay, probably a hard game. And Everton also offering decent attacking. So United have faced a bit more harder opposition, but United also have a much more better team, so they should be doing much more better. But they're not. So it's basically, you kind of flip a coin. I think if I was to you, I think Salah could be a really good captaincy option against United, and Lukaku could possibly score maybe a bit more, but I think Salah also could score this game, and United are defensively bad. So I would kind of edge it towards Salah at the moment, but Norwich are offensively and defensively bad on both games. Another thing is, this is a big game. Liverpool United is always a big game. If I was you, I would keep your eye out for United versus Atalanta, because I think that could tell a lot in terms of how United will approach the Liverpool game as well, because Atalanta are a very attacking team. So that will kind of give us an idea of how United will cope against Liverpool, what their play style might be against Liverpool as well. Will they be defensive, especially given the fact that they are home? So that's also something to consider. Another interesting stat I did find while I was writing my article for the Fantasy Football Scout Committee, the community website, check it out, was that Salah's performances against United in the last 4 games. So Salah's performance against United in the last 4 games, he's had 4 goals, 0 assists. He had 1 goal in game week 35 last season in the Prem. In the FA Cup game last season, he had 2 goals. They lost that 3-2. the first Prem game was a draw, and then going back to 2019-20 season, Liverpool won 2-0 in game week 23, and Salah had a goal there. Now, so Salah's had 4 goals, 0 assists against United in his last 4 games. In terms of Salah's stats against the big teams, so I've compared his stats against last season's Prem's top 8 teams, right? Salah's had 2 goals against City, a goal against United, a goal against Leicester, 3 goals against West Ham, 1 goal against Spurs, and 1 goal and 1 assist against Arsenal. So he's had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goal contributions against the top teams, which is pretty good return, I would say. So he's getting at least a goal. It's the only team he failed to score against was Chelsea. He didn't score a single goal against Chelsea, but he scored against City and West Ham on both occasions. The other teams he scored only on 1 occasion. Now, his teammates Firmino, Mane, and Jota. Firmino had 5 goals and 3 assists against those top 8. Mane had 4 goals, 4 assists, and Jota had 6 goals. So, if you're looking for other options in Liverpool's team against United, those are a few players who've done decent. I think Firmino, especially with his hat-trick in the last game, could be a good secondary option as a captaincy punt if you want to take it against United. And apart from that, I guess Lukaku is the other option. Or Werner. We mentioned Werner as well. I think Werner, we can probably compare Werner against Lukaku to see how both have done in the last 4 game weeks, to see whether maybe Werner is a better captaincy option than Lukaku. Now, Werner, as you can see, has been operating more towards that right-hand side. Yeah, right-hand side. Whilst Lukaku has operated in central. This is last 4 game weeks, by the way. And Werner also beats Lukaku in terms of stats. He's had 1 assist. He has 1 goal. He has a better XG than Lukaku. Not the best expected assist, but more expected goal involvement because of the better XG. He's had more touches in the final third than Lukaku. And more also passes received. So he's getting the ball more than Lukaku as well. More involvement as well. Goal involvement. In terms of BPS, Lukaku does beat him a bit. Minutes per goal, I mean, you can't really say much for both of them. It's not that great in terms of the stats. Minutes per attempt, though, is pretty good. 29 minutes per attempt. So Werner is taking more chances than Lukaku. So maybe Werner could also actually be a better captaincy option than Lukaku right now against Norwich. But I think Lukaku might be the more favored one because of the fact that he's more owned. So he might be the most captained this game week. But like I said before, I mentioned 4 players here from both teams, Chelsea and Liverpool, that you could probably look at in terms of captaincy options. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards Salah, mainly because of the fact that he does offer I guess he kind of offers the fact that he could probably get a goal against United, and I'll probably take it, 1 goal. Whereas Lukaku, I don't know what I'm going to get at this point. Lukaku could score more than Salah against Norwich, but at the same time, Lukaku might not score at all. So, whereas Salah has proved that against Chelsea and Manchester City, he's got double-digit hauls in both games, and I would expect him to kind of score against United as well. And these are the kind of games, I guess, where you could probably make ground against others if you were to captain Salah. So, it's up to you how you want to take a risk. I've kind of broken down both players for y'all to kind of show you what is on offer, and up to you to pick one of the two. If you want the outside punts, I told you Timo Werner, maybe Firmino, Antonio could be an outside punt as well, if you don't like any of these two. Anyways, that's the captaincy options. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're new, do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. And thank you for watching all this time. Absolute legends. Thank you all. Hit the subscribe button, don't forget. And I'll see you all for the podcast tomorrow. We'll be discussing all of these captaincy options. We'll be looking at our teams, wildcards, how we did, and also looking ahead for Game Week 9's fixtures in general. So thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all later.